Hey everybody, Doug here. Before we push play on this episode of Playing by Ear, wanted to let you know about some big developments. The big thing is we have started a Patreon for our podcast network. Go to patreon.com/nostalgium to get involved. So at the lowest tier, you can jump in on our Discord server so you can get in with our community, discuss all the various things going on, the episodes and life, the universe, and everything. So you can do that. At a higher tier, you get access to all of our bonus content, including the Still Muppeting podcast and the soon-to-be-released Cartoon Therapy podcast. So check those out for a handful more bucks. And at higher levels, you can dictate what episodes of Nostalgia Arcanum or Playing by Ear might be covering. So please do look into all of those things. Get involved again. Patreon.com/nostalgia. Go check it out. And let's get ready to talk about some Buffalo Tom. Hello and welcome to Playing by Ear. I'm Doug.
I'm Kyle.
And I'm Amy.
Each episode of this podcast, one of us or a guest will bring an album they love to be presented and analyzed, track by track, to explore what makes it special and why they think it's not just worth playing, but replaying. This episode, we do have a guest, Lost Moon Radio's Dylan Riss, who is bringing Big Red Letter Day by Buffalo Tom. Welcome to the podcast, Dylan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
For listeners who've been following us on Nostalgia Arcanum, Dylan has been on that show many times, mostly talking about music. Just to give a few examples of things we've covered have been Led Zeppelin and Bruce Springsteen, just to name a few.
Police.
And the Police we've done. So lots and lots of musical episodes with Dylan over on that show, but we're glad to have you here for the first time. Before we even have you discuss why you picked this album, I just have to address like the bonkers coincidences that piled up with you. So we had the little recording of you announcing your pick, and the pick you actually first said was Automatic for the People by REM, which out of the thousands upon albums you could have picked was the one we had just finished covering, which an insane coincidence. And then the other insane coincidence is you're friends with Eric Hutchinson, who we covered last time.
I was friends with Eric Hutchinson. We've lost touch, but we were childhood friends and bandmates in each of our first band together a very, very long time ago.
Still pretty cool. I mean,
Pretty cool connection.
He's not super well known, so the fact that you know who he is and you were able to recognize his album title just off the list we gave you, that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
And still interesting, just again, with those two episodes being the last two we did,
Yeah.
just kind of an amazing coincidence. But so let's start where we do, Dylan. Why did you pick Big Red Letter Day?
Well, it's because of the Eric Hutchinson connection. I found out that Amy was a mega fan of his and that you guys had just covered it. The overlap in my and Eric's taste was Buffalo Tom. And that is, we both really loved that band and this album. We didn't necessarily overlap overall, though, and he maybe even less so with the other people who were in the band, and so that's why it never went anywhere. I was maybe kind of in the middle, but he was probably at one extreme, and then like the bassist and drummer were at another extreme. So anyway, so that band never amounted to anything, but we what Eric and I shared in common was the love of Buffalo Tom. And for me specifically, I am a big fan of the band in general. I've seen them live at least half a dozen times, and then I've seen the lead singer Bill Janovitz solo probably another 3 times. And I have a few favorites of theirs, but overall this one is my favorite. It's actually not the one that I think is supposed to like quote their best according to the conventional wisdom in their fan base. That usually goes to the one before it, which is called Let Me Come Over. But Big Red Letter Day is my favorite.
Perfect. All right. Well, then this is where we normally talk about our personal experience with the album. I know the 3 of us didn't have a lot, but Amy, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so the only reason I know this album is because of Late at Night, because it was featured in an episode of My So-Called Life. So if you were, a teenager in the 90s, you like Jordan Catalano, and you know this song because he grabbed Angela Chase's hand in a pivotal episode of My So-Called Life. So I was very familiar with that particular song. And there was a time, and I don't remember exactly when it was. Maybe it was when I had Napster, or maybe at the late 90s when I was exploring album thrift shops more. What are they called?
Used record stores?
Used record stores, yeah. Maybe in college, where I found this album, or it was online. And I was like, oh, I love this song so much. I really want to go and explore more of theirs. And so I have listened to these songs before. Some of them were probably on my iPod for like the longest time. So I've heard them before. It never was an album that really jumped out at me. And so it was a good experiment to go back and listen with fresh ears. And we'll find out how I felt about it going into it, so many years later. But yeah, I knew of them.
I had very little experience with this. The only experience I had was we covered My So-Called Life on Nostalgia Marcanum several years ago, so I ended up watching this episode of the show. Before that, I had never heard of them, and the way they talked about them on that episode, I assumed it was a made-up band for the show. Like the Beats on Doug. Like it was just a fictional band. And the other thing in that episode is they say the words Buffalo Tom so many times that it's one of those things where when someone repeats something that many times, it starts to become meaningless. It's like Malkovich. They just kept saying it. And so I assumed it was fake. And then at some point I found out, oh, they are a real band. And then I think you mentioned them once, Dylan, on one of those other episodes. They came up somehow. And that's all the experience I had. The only song I knew was Late at Night because of My So-Called Life. The rest of this was all brand new to me. So I'll turn it to Kyle.
Yeah, so not really much to say. I don't really know much of this. Haven't really heard of the band. Just the funny connection with Buffalo, though, is that I was recently on a road trip. Me and my wife were listening to a huge mix, and this song, Buffalo Stance by Nana Cherry, came on from like 89 or 90. Mm-hmm. And at the time I even said it out loud, like, what other like songs, they don't use Buffalo in a lot of songs. And then this comes up and it's like, we're doing a Buffalo Tom album. So, yeah. But other than that, yeah, that doesn't even really count. But no, I don't know this band at all. This is all fresh to me. The style, obviously I'm familiar with. I'll bring up those bands as we kind of go through this, ones that, it reminds me of. But yeah, this is brand new for Kyle.
And so Dylan, I'll ask you, I know you said that you and Eric Hutchinson bonded over this album, but you already knew it obviously coming in. So, tell me your personal experience with it. Like, where did you start with them?
Well, this was actually the first album I got it through BMG Music Service, which was the mail order thing. And I just would often buy stuff based on just like description alone, because you just had to get a certain number for part of the membership. And so anyway, I just got this in a batch, I'd heard one or two songs. I had heard it was surely either Soda Jerk or Treehouse, which were singles. And I liked it enough to be like, okay, I'm just going to order it. And it really stuck with me. And then since then, I've come to know their whole career. They started off as really proteges of the band Dinosaur Jr., which is like much more of like a noisy, loud, whatever. Jay Mascis is sort of like a, indie rock Neil Young, basically. And their first album sounded a little like that. Jay produced them. Then in their third album, this one, Let Me Come Over, they sort of get more of their own sound. It becomes less noisy, less like sort of fuzzed out, more like folky in a sense. Although what's interesting is the band that they're most compared to, and the band that their singer and primary songwriter Bill Janovitz is openly a massive fan of, are not the same. I can reveal what his biggest influence is and what everyone says that they sound like, although I don't want to pooch your guys' opinions. Or
At
whatever.
some point, we have to before this thing is over.
Yes, okay. Well, maybe it'll come up. Maybe you'll say it naturally. But anyway, and then so let me come over. Big Red Letter Day, and then the one after it called Sleepy Eyed. That's sort of considered by many of their fans to be sort of their like golden trilogy, although they kept going. They still exist today. They are, definitely a part-time band. They don't do it full-time, but they tour every year. They're based in Boston. They play, in Boston in the Northeast the most, but they'll come out to the West Coast from time to time. And, they have a small but mighty group that never stopped following them. But yeah, they were sort of biggest in the 90s. They headlined some, then they opened for even bigger bands. You mentioned Buffalo. I remember one of the times I saw them, they were opening for probably the most famous band to come out of Buffalo, New York, which is Goo Goo Dolls. And that was when Goo Goo Dolls similarly decided that they were going to change their sound, and they became very mainstream. But ironically, early Goo Goo Dolls and Buffalo Tom get compared to the same exact band, which I don't know if it's on the tip of your tongue, but they both.
I see that.
Yes, they're both compared to, I'll just say, the Replacements. They're both described as sounding a lot like the Replacements, early Goo Goo Dolls, before they switched to sort of a more mainstream style. But anyway, but yeah, that's not yeah.
All right.
Anyway, that's sort of a little history of them. It's definitely, this is, if people like this album, it's far from the only one. If you like it, there's plenty of others that are very good, but the first two are different. They're more of that Dinosaur Jr. fuzzed out thing.
Okay. Well, it's time to talk about our overall thoughts and impressions before we get into analyzing it track by track. So Amy, you're up first. Your overall thoughts and impressions on Big Red Letter Day.
So we've been doing this podcast now for about a year, and I would say 75-80% of the things that I'm picking, maybe more, are from the 90s. And so this is an era that I just, I grew up in this era, so it's something that I gravitate towards. And I really, really wanted to love this album, but unfortunately my first opinion of it stayed with me, so it wasn't able to really grow on my, my interest. It's a little monotonous. It's a little noisy. You referenced noisy. I still see it as noisy. I think the production isn't the best. It's very raw, but it's also, I find that the guitar is very high in the mix. And so it's harder for me to access the lyrics and feel that connection, that emotional connection to it. So there's a few tracks that are a little bit more melodic and that I liked a little bit more, but overall, it just wasn't something that I'm going to come back to.
Yeah, I liked it more than you did, I think. But I agree. I think that this is a very homogenous record to a large degree. Part of that is just, I feel like some of my gripes of the records would be solved with a capo. A lot of these songs are the same chords or feel very similar in terms of what the ingredients are musically. And so I just kind of wish that someone in the production had been we've done that already. Why not try it just acoustic, or try, let's vary it up a little bit. Let's do this, do that, change the key, something, try and come up with some kind of a flourish. And I realize the gold standard for shit like this is the Beatles, where literally every album is a Frankenstein after Help, of just random weird stuff that they did. Not everything has to be that much of a variety pack, but I think a little of that would have helped. I still don't think it's a bad album by any stretch, but I think there's a little bit of a I don't know, let's mix it up. Save this song for the next album. You already have too many that sound like this one. Try something else. So I kind of feel like that it needed just a little bit of that. I probably would have liked it a lot more, because there were songs that I'm this song sounds so much like the other one, and I'm trying to give it a grade, and it's I can't ding it because it sounds like another song. It's just there's two of them. So there's a little bit of that going on for me, but I do like their lyrics. I think their lyrics are generally kind of interesting. They're good storytellers on some of this stuff, and I really like that because that helped bring some of this more to life. And I think Janovitz interesting lead singer because like he's got a real like raspy voice that like his like energy kind of helps elevate the material even in some of the weaker songs, and I really liked that sound. It's the band I thought of actually when listening to this was like it's what Pearl Jam sounds like after 10. Every Pearl Jam album after 10 to me sounds like this. Like they all kind of sound like this. And so that like it felt like at home. And what was this album? 1993? Yeah, exactly. It feels in that zone. So is it my favorite artifact from that era? No. But I still found more to like on here overall than I didn't like. But that's kind of the up and down of it for me. Kyle?
The first thing I have to just call bullshit on, but I like everything that you guys said, is the Pearl Jam reference. Like this is nothing like Pearl Jam. Like I can see it kind of sounding like the second album verses. I get that, and maybe a little Vitalogy. But if you look at all of Pearl Jam after the first album, like no, not even close. But I see the reference because there's some stuff on here like Daughter. Like Daughter sounds like it could be on this album. So exactly. I get that. But anyways, so initial thoughts. So I listened to this guy about 10 times, to be honest, about 4 or 5 were probably today. So I probably only listened to it about 5 times up till today. And today I just went crazy on it. So lots of positives and negatives to kind of sprinkle across here, but there's not going to be a lot of low lows. And there's not a lot of high highs either. But I do like the production on this album. I like the guitar tones a lot. I like the way they layer the guitars. I'm not like a lot of fancy guitar work or anything like that, but just the production and sound of it is nice and full, really nice in the headphones. Songs are kind of boring. Like there's some sweet spots and cherries like here and there. But I think overall, like there's some boring stuff, but they still sound good. So the ratings are not going to be low at all. There's cool chord progressions. They tend to use a lot of the same chord progressions. I'll get to that later on. The melodies are pretty nice. There's not a lot musically going on except for like just the band, like just the basic like rhythm guitar, bass and drums and vocals. But there are some harmonies in there and the rhythm instruments are all fine. I did write down some bands that I thought of. There's probably more later, but the initial thought was this is Toad the Wet Sprocket, Gin Blossoms, Smithereens, Soul Asylum, sprinkled along with some Fastball and some Guster in there. So it kind of felt familiar, which I liked. I feel like this would be really good live is something that like I got from this as I was going through this because it just feels live. It feels like there's not... Even though there's a lot of layered guitars in there, you can kind of imagine just 1 or 2 clean guitars, like busting out loud on stage and just belting this out. But overall, like, it's clean, good 90s rock, not extra special, amazing, but I certainly don't hate this at all. There's going to be some decent stuff on here.
All right. And then Dylan, will give you the last word on kind of overall, like the 30,000 foot view.
Yeah, well, I think I think, Amy, I'll be honest, I think if you don't like this album, you really wouldn't like their other albums. This is their most produced album. And it's produced by the Robb brothers, who produced, I think, some groups that you like. They worked on like some Aerosmith and, Lenny Kravitz. And I mean, this is considered their produced album. Their other ones are significantly more raw. Yeah, I mean, they're the band that they are most commonly associated with are the Replacements, which is a band that is punk that then became sort of had like a sweet, folkiness to them. It's the same band, like I said, that early Goo Goo Dolls is compared to. The band that they cite as their number one inspiration is the Rolling Stones. So. I think honestly, like hearing, like I really appreciate the thought you put into it. I think you're all way off on your comparisons. I think you're way off, but I do agree that there is, I would argue an intentional sameness to some of it in the sense that there's like sort of like a structure and some motifs to it. But I agree with Kyle. I don't hear Pearl Jam at all, not even Daughter. And I think also if you see them live and do these, it probably, they don't sound like the Rolling Stones, but you can see live why they sort of anchor around that. So,
but Toad the Wet Sprocket and Gin Blossoms though, there's got to be some of that, right?
I think of Gin Blossoms as being very like country influenced, and then they get, I mean, I think that maybe like the end product is a similar time. It's definitely two different scenes. So, I mean, the scene that Buffalo Tom comes out of, and this actually would, I think, be more like they're from Boston. I think Lemonheads is actually a more close comparison because they literally are from the same scene as the Lemonheads. And then Juliana Hatfield, who was with them, like I said, Dinosaur Jr. I know what you mean, Kyle. I do think that like, yes, that like for someone who likes Gin Blossoms or Toad the Wet Sprocket, it might be similar. I think both those bands are from Arizona. Definitely Gin Blossoms are. And I just think of Gin Blossoms as like sort of countrified, but I like their first album a lot for sure. Some of the others I don't hear as much, but yeah. So anyway, that's what I'd say. So I think that it's actually considered their least raw album for what it's worth.
All right, well, it's time to get into the details here. So Kyle, kick us off.
Yeah, so let me do some housekeeping items up front here. So Big Red Letter Day came out September 21st, 1993. Happy birthday, Cousin Ryan. Album peaked at number 185 on the 200, but hey, it got there. If I had an album that got on to 185, I'd be good. All songs written by the band, the three members, Bill, Chris, and Tom. This is their fourth album, I believe. Tell me if I'm wrong, Dylan. No,
yep.
okay.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, and we're ready to start this track by track. So this is 11 songs here. I didn't see any notes about there being any singles, so yeah, if anyone knows about that, we can do that as we go. But the first song is called Soda Jerk. This is 4 minutes and 27 seconds. And Dylan, it's your turn to get us started. And don't give a rating yet. We're going to do the rating numbers at the end.
Yeah, that was a single, and it did get some airplay. I still hear it, actually, believe it or not, still in some commercials and like a baseball bumper music. I've heard it in anyway, kind of funny. Yeah, I mean that one to me. Sorry, so I'm not giving a rating, but what that song.
Yeah. What do you think about it? What it does for you? Good, bad?
I mean that song to me is it. I really like the song. I would say that it's generally sort of a straight ahead folky thing. There's a little bit of like selective moments of dissonance in it, which would be like in the beginning of the chorus. She's like, "Could my eyelids cover what I did?" There's just a little bit of a dissonant note in there, where it's in the key of G, and there's a C sharp in there, which just sort of gets your attention. But for the most part, it's just like it's grooving right on through, and I like the vocal harmonies in it. I just like the structure of it. The very simple guitar solo in it. It's not it's very. I think it sets out to not be flashy and succeeds at what it wants to do, but gets in my ear, that's for sure.
All right, Amy.
Okay, so I guess as an opener, it's good because it sounds like every other song on the album. So if you want to know what you're about to get, it's great as an opener because they all sound the same. Now I understand what you're saying, Dylan, earlier about like if it was intentionally same, so maybe that this was just the sound that they were going for. But if it doesn't work on one of them, it doesn't matter how many more you add. Like I'm still gonna have that like negative association with it. So it just doesn't work for me. I do think that it has a good catchy guitar start. I didn't love the voice on this one. I don't know why, because generally his voice is fine enough, and I do like the rasp. There is a part in the song that I like the melody of or the sound of. It's the shutting of the door or high up in orbit. I don't know if one of you can like sing it because I don't remember, but like it sounds like it goes. It just like it sounds like it goes minor, and I don't know if that's true. It does go minor or not, but it just there's a certain way that I hear it and it's pleasing to my ear.
That comes after that little dissonant moment, so
Okay.
it's like it sounds maybe pleasing because it's like the resolution.
Okay, so it's like it resolves.
It's like,
it.
could my
Okay.
eyelids cover what I did? That's dissonant, and then the resolution is the shutting of the door.
Okay, well maybe that's why I like it then.
Yeah.
I was a little frustrated that it didn't really go anywhere. Like it didn't have a bridge. It didn't like kind of. I just needed more dynamics, and I didn't get that. And I think that's basically it. Just not a lot for me to grab onto. And I didn't really get to the lyrics too much on this album. I know, Doug, you said you really liked them, but it's hard for me to hear them. And so I end up not analyzing them until I'm at the very end when I'm looking at the lyric sheet and writing down my notes. And so I just had a really hard time understanding a good portion of this record. I just didn't really know what he was trying to portray. And that's kind of a bummer.
All right. Well, so yeah, you're right. This sets the template, right? For like for all of the songs on this that have like a relatively similar sound and structure, this is one of those. And it's all kind of like, I am singing a song and I'm singing, but do. There's a bunch of those. Like it's all the same chords, but this one, I think it's a great way to open the album. It kind of fires off with that energy from the guitar. It gets going really well. But what I really like here is the lyrics. I mean, he opens up with "Watch an eyeball take a free fall." What he's talking about, at least from the way I interpret it, is he got in a fight with some dude at a soda fountain and lost. This is what it sounds like, because at the end he's saying, "I'm on the floor." So the soda jerk is like there's a jerk, a literal jerk that he got into this fight with. So it reminds me of like shit like the Dropkick Murphys would do stuff like this, with a lot more of it, bagpipes and, haggis and so forth, because that's their thing. But like there's something kind of a little punk rock about this song that's just about kind of getting into a brawl that was just, I found kind of appealing. And so for at least for this one, like I enjoyed this iteration of this, again, the template kind of a song.
So, yeah. So this is for me, this was a good place to start. It felt like a lead-off track, which I liked. I think overall it does set up the whole album pretty well, because the overall feel and production that you get on this sort of resembles the rest of it. I like the chorus. It's got a little bit of change. There's that, Dylan, you mentioned, there's that second chord, whatever it is. It's like that dissonant, augmented, whatever. The toms build in there. That's pretty cool. I think there is some dynamics in the song, Amy. Maybe I don't know if you said the album or the song. I don't remember. But I think the song does have some dynamics. I think the harmonies are nice in the chorus. They're not really loud, but they're in there and you can hear it. There's a guitar solo. I wrote down it wasn't much. It wasn't anything fancy. There's a lot of that on this album where like the musicianship is good from like a rhythmic standpoint, but melodically, there's not a lot of like really cool leads, and not on this one either. There's a couple. We'll get to those. I like the third verse. It kind of quiets down a little bit, which is nice. They do a lot of third verses on this album. They're not a band that just does like the verse, chorus, and then solo chorus, and they go back to a third verse pretty often. Let's see. The one thing about this that I notice is that like it goes back to like that one chord a lot. Like it really is focused on that, like whatever that, I think you said G.
It's an open G, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, and I like that. I mean, I think overall, like if there was a whole album that was all like that, I don't think I'd be able to deal with that. And it's a little much on the song. I wish that there was a little bit more change. I think maybe that's what you mean, Amy, by the dynamics. There's not a lot of change in this song. So it's decent. This is an okay way to start. I don't absolutely love it, but I'm interested after this. Let's say that.
Yeah, and I think that, to your point, like Kyle, it's like it's not flashy. It's they're the kind of band that like they open it up a little more live. I wouldn't say that Bill Janovich is like an all-world shredder guitar player, but he definitely can rip it up more than he does on the record, and like you hear it when you see them live, but it's restrained, sort of intention on the record. In terms of the lyrics, if you go back and look at them, they're about being a teenager. And knowing that, if you go back and read the lyric, jerked my fountain, ice cream mountains.
Okay.
What could that be?
Yes. So this is all from the perspective of a teenager. That I know. I don't know what all of these are about, but I do know from an interview that's what this is.
The whole album or just this song in particular?
It's not just a song. It's not the whole album either, but this song specifically, if you read it all from the perspective of like a angsty teenager.
Having a weird podcast day talking about that subject. I recorded an episode of the other show on Spider-Man earlier today, and there's that scene where he's shooting all the webs in his bedroom, and Aunt May comes and knocks on the door. It's like, "What are you doing in there?" And he's like, "Nothing." It's the same. Anyway, so it's, scores.
Go ahead. 1 to 100. What you got for your first rating on this podcast?
90.
65.
78.
79 for me. All right, we're moving on to the second song on this album. This is called I'm Allowed.
Waited for an answer, but I waited 25 years. They stopped my bleeding, but could never stop all those tears. Waited for the day when you came out from beneath all that weight. I tried to lift it, but it seems I got there too late. Just too late. Just too late. 'Cause I'm alive. Came to the party, but I got my own signals crossed.
This is 4 minutes, 22 seconds. Amy, go ahead. Get us going.
It's starting to run out of things to say already. I'm so sorry. I wish I liked Dylan. You and I just like our tastes are so different.
It's true.
But I did think this one was better. I think it's a start with the start of it. I think it's already sounds better than the last one. I thought it was a catchier melody. I think the vocals sounded nicer for whatever reason. Again, I wish it went more places. I felt like it just wasn't, it didn't give me enough of up and down. So it had a lot of potential, but it didn't quite deliver on it. I just didn't feel like it landed it. Some of the lyrics were a little bit relatable. Like, I could talk to no one because I knew not one person. That's just kind of a bummer. But I didn't really dive too much into the lyrics, or at least nothing significantly jumped out at me. There was a nice little guitar riff in the back after the chorus. That's what I wrote down. I don't remember what it sounds like, but I did like that part. And I wanted more of a hook. Like, I felt like it just didn't have like one thing that I could grab onto that I loved. So the song was better than the last one, but still not the best. We're not there yet. We get there.
I like this one a lot. This one is, it's got this great minor key kind of feel to it, which I wish more of the songs had. I think this one is way more compelling because of that. It's so different. And it kind of draws you in. Like, it's the production is a little more sparse at the beginning, and that lets Janovitz really kind of like hook you with the vocals and kind of the story he's trying to tell. And I just, even though it's repetitive, that just, I'm allowed, like he kind of sings that out. I really liked all of that. So to me, this song came together really well. And another one I think lyrically is interesting. He's talking about basically crashing this party. I guess he's into this girl who's there, but she's kind of just not interested. And he's allowed to be there, I guess, but is kind of what he's saying. But like he's I could talk to no one because I didn't know anyone there. As vivid as a car wreck, right? She came to me smiling, but like it still doesn't, like she's talking about some other guy, and so it's not going anywhere. This like raised up a very like specific personal memory for me of having an experience like this, where this girl who was like my, I guess, Angela Chase in high school, like the one girl I was totally like wrapped around the axle for. She went to a different high school than me, and so she had a play she was in, and so I drove all the way out to go see this play, and then it was the last night, so there was a cast party afterwards, and I had literally no one to talk to because she was the only person I knew there, and I had brought my friend with me who was like the nerdiest person I've known in my entire life. And this is me talking. So the nerdiest person I know have ever known, my high school friend, Miles. And I actually got into a car accident on the way back from that party. So it pinged this very specific memory from high school for me. But like, yeah, that feeling of like, I'm really into this girl. She's not into me, you know, and like not knowing what to do with myself at this party until I kind of went, well, I guess I should leave because what else can I do? So I kind of like the emotional vibe of the song. At least that's what I got out of the lyrics here. But the sound of it, like even like, because I would probably listen to this album 20 times, if not more, just trying to get as many listens as I could in. And this was one I was always like, oh yeah, happy to hear this one.
I'm just pretty glad that I had the privilege to just experience something, which isn't like a big deal or anything, but it was really cool, as I've probably done with a lot of you guys, probably, I don't know, 30 to 50 podcasts in my podcast career. And it was very interesting right there to watch Doug talk about a girl in high school that he was into and have Amy watch him. And I think me watching Amy's reaction just was kind of priceless for me. So
what did I react? I don't think I reacted.
Shockingly, I knew another female 15 years before I met you.
I'm so jealous.
You were just watching him. You were paying attention very closely. Nothing could have got your
Find
attention
her and
that way.
slash her tires.
Yeah. How dare she
Anyway.
friend zone
Tell me
me?
her name later so I can
Fine.
spam her.
Amy's like, I'm allowed, not you.
Yeah, there we go.
So, Doug, you started this one off exactly with my words, which was the minor tone. Really like the minor tone, especially since the first one is mostly major. This one's minor, and I like that. I like that it's a change. That sort of intro-y guitar hook that's like the verses, like that's a very nice part. It's very clean. It's nice chords. It's fairly original. I mean, there's stuff out there like that, but not that exact the way that it's being done. So I think it's original. I like it. I like the verses in general. I like that the first verse is quiet and then the drums come in on the second half of it, just like any good production song should do. Let's build it. Let's not have it all up in your face right up front. So the chorus, let's talk about the chorus. Like musically, it's not much. Like there's not much. If you look at that on paper, it's not anything that's spectacular, but the feel and the sound of it and just the overall raising 1 to 2, I think it's a 1, 2, like 4 chord progression. It's like super strong. You can just really feel that chorus just, that's almost, it's okay. Dylan, we did the Beatles podcast. You guys, Doug, you guys remember I Want You, She's So Heavy. You know, that's a song for me. That's the song I want to listen to 8 minutes at the end, right? This song isn't like that, but I do want to listen to this chorus for like a good minute or two. Like it's enough to where like I'm really pulled into it. I would really want to hear it live. It's a nice melody throughout all this song. I mostly just really like this thing. There's another guitar solo in this one. But there's not much. It's kind of boring. So there's some weak. It's not like the best song in the world. Let's see. What else did I write down? I like the end because it kind of builds on that chorus and it just goes and goes and goes. I think that I wish that musically there was a little bit more, like melodically, there was more like melodies happening. Not necessarily other instruments, just more melodies. But that strong feel of that chorus is enough to keep me interested. So it's overall good for me. It's catchy. It's minor. I'm going to remember this one. This is a good spot for me on the album.
I think that this is a pretty clear contrast with the first song. I mean, within the context of the album, but I don't think that the whole album sounds the same. I think that there's some upbeat and some downbeat ones, and this is a downbeat one. And I like the lyrics a lot. I like the things like "vivid as a car wreck." That's a great thing. There's some alcohol references in it, which if you look, I mean, not just on this record. It's a common thing that gets talked about a lot in Buffalo Tom lyrics. the context behind this one, and I like this song a lot. However, there is some context, which is, it sounds a little like the second song on the album that came before it, which is generally their most beloved song by their fans. That song's called Taillights Fade, and I recommend it. It's definitely, again, the general public knows Late at Night the best. That's not a fan favorite. The fan favorite number one would be called this song called Taillights Fade. And this song, second song on the album that comes after, there's something, there's a little bit of like, okay, we're going to do that again. And I don't think it's quite as good as Taillights Fade. So for me, knowing the full context of it, I might not rate it as highly in the context of the rest of the album as you guys, but I do think it's a solid song.
I think you're going to be higher than Amy, but that's just me.
What do you guys think I'm at?
70.
Something like 70.
Ding, ding, ding. 70.
Around
Okay.
there.
I'm
Is it? Wow.
Yeah, it's 70.
I'm at 88.
All right. I'm an 83 for this one, over the line.
And I'll give this one 87.
Dylan, just so you know, Kyle has this line that like anything over 80 is considered. How would you put it in your own words, Kyle? That like what does 80 mean?
I think 80 is like a quality line. Like you're going to see stuff in the high 70s, like Dylan, you know Pump very well. So something like My Girl, or, you know, and that might be like a 77, you know, where it's like good, but it's not like What It Takes, or like even like an 80 would be like even, I don't know, The Other Side on, you know, sorry, we're going to go and do I'm going to do that album eventually.
Yeah.
But so but that 80 line is kind of like, we're just like, I don't know, it's like a quality line. 79 is just not quite, it's still good, but like 80, yes.
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense in my own head. Okay, let's keep it moving forward, guys. All right, track number 3 here. This is called Treehouse.
Seasons changing, I found you. Looks like you've been here a long time. Looks like you're here to stay, and I reason that's okay. When will you be leaving? Way up in the trees, float on the seas. I can't avoid your voice, but I have no choice. Your bird drizzles for twice nightly.
4 minutes and 16 seconds. Doug, go ahead, get us started.
Yeah, so this is another one that like to me sounds a lot like Soda Jerk. It must be. Is it also in an open G or something? Like there's something about this.
Yeah, they actually mentioned capo. I mean, they do capo this, but yeah, I mean, these are mostly, you know, the cowboy chord, folk chord type of things. But yeah,
Yeah, like to me, this sounds almost exactly like Soda Jerk. Like it's a very similar sound to me for Treehouse. It's a little more frenetic isn't the word, but like it's got a little more like energy to it, like nervous energy. It's you know, there's a little more skittering and stuff in the drums, and it's a little faster. So I appreciate that. I think there's some nice there's like backup vocalists here. Like,
Yes, there are.
There's like some female singers. Like that's a nice little change of pace to it to give it that. I wish they had found other ways to do little things like that with some of the other songs. Like I think they add a nice little touch here to differentiate this song a little more. This is one where I wasn't 100% sure what the lyrics were about, but it sounds like a person who he's kind of soured on because she's too closed off. Like Treehouse is like, you know, she's basically built a wall around herself is what the treehouse represents. So that's what I got out of it, which I kind of like he has some interesting, like, just turns of phrases. He says, your hurt drizzles forth twice nightly. Like that's a line.
He's jerking off again.
Oh, could
No.
he?
I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. And I once held on to you so tightly, you were made of wood. And cried because no one understood. Like these are cool, like interesting bits of lyrics.
And then it goes
here.
on, but I had splinters in my fingers. You know, you were made of wood. You're closed off.
Wow.
Cried 'cause no one understood. I had splinters in my fingers. I tried.
Yeah.
To get through to you. And it's all wood metaphor, tree metaphor. But I think it's great lyrics. Sorry, I cut you.
Yeah, no, I that was what I was kind of responding to in it, and it's just like I appreciate a lyricist who's gonna not just do something obvious. Like he finds interesting ways to describe the feelings this feels very like authentic. I mean, we haven't used this phrase yet, but this is kind of college rock, essentially from this era, and like. There's one of the things I like about the music from the early 90s in general is that there is a lot of like authenticity to it. Like we've gotten out of the like, you know, everything's a party, you know, don't need nothing but a good time stuff from the 80s. And we're into kind of like, we got to talk about our feelings a little bit because we're feeling some weird, complex stuff. And so I like that about this song. I think sonically, it's not as interesting as I'd like it to be. It's like I said, very similar to it regresses to the mean of the template here, but I still appreciate that. I feel like this would be good live with the kind of energy it has.
All right, to me, yes, it does remind me of the first song. There's more to that coming. I like that it's upbeat. I like that the second song brought it down a little bit for mid-tempo, but this one took us right back up. This one is probably higher tempo than the first. This one's got these solid rockin' verses with a very memorable melody over the top of it. I like the lyrics. I did actually read the lyrics for this one as well, and I remember it's been a while. I feel like I've looked at so much since I did that with listening to this album, but I remember liking it. Again, good harmonies on this one. The chorus to this song, I think, is probably the strongest part on the whole album, I think. When it hits that 5 chord and they da-na-da-na, like that melody that he hits, I think is just super catchy. And that's the part that I really want to hear that a lot. And they do it a lot, so that's good. Amy, this is the one that reminds me of Fastball. There's another one later, but this is the one that did remind me of Fastball. Melody overall for this whole song is very strong. Again, rhythm, production, good, lead vocals. I think this is where we get to the point in the album where I realize, okay, I think I actually like the singer. Like the first 2 songs, like his voice doesn't come out. I guess on the second song, I'm Allowed in the chorus, it does, but overall, it's not until I get to this till I realize, like, I think I actually kind of like his voice. The end of the song takes the verse all the way out to the max. Like I'm Allowed, it went chorus all the way out. This one is like verse jam all the way out, which was really nice. This is solid. This is a solid track. Definitely going to be over the line for this one.
Yeah, and for me, I think these lyrics are great. I sort of already, it is like all a tree and wood and related metaphors. There's a bird in there, and I think it actually really does get at the relationship that you were describing, Doug, of someone who he can't get through to. Again, you were made of wood, cried because no one understood, but I had splinters in my fingers. I was trying, and then at the end, he says, like driftwood from the shore, you were rotten to the core. And he has a different perspective on it. He tried, and this person was rotten to the core. And then the final refrain that just goes on and on is seasons changed, meaning he's changed. This is a different point in his life, and he doesn't think of it this way anymore. I love the energy on this. I love like the backing vocals. There's some great organ in this. It's very layered, actually. This is a very produced song. It's simultaneously raw in terms of just the feel of it, but if you actually break down the layers, there's actually many instruments on here. This, I guess my only, you can say strike against it. This is actually not, this whole band in general, and definitely the album is actually not as aligned with my own taste in like music and harmony. My favorite band is Steely Dan, which has 8,000 chords in every single song, and this is very different. But see, to me, this is also very intentional. It's like, it's a lot of these things are it's 2 chords back and forth. But I find it to be a choice, not a like helplessness. They don't know what else to do. This is very harmonically simple, and yet I don't really, for me personally, and again, I'm telling you, my favorite band is Steely Dan, which has so much harmony, it's insane. There's nothing I would really add to it. So this song totally works for me.
I appreciate you guys breaking down the lyrics for me because I'm stupid. No, I'm just kidding. No, I was so focused on learning the melodies that I didn't get to the lyrics until like yesterday and today, and I just didn't dive in because I can't hear it when I'm listening, and so I had no idea what was going on. And I just struggled so much to like I don't even remember the melody for this one. Like I don't know what it is about this album that it's just like nothing is sticking. And that's just, I guess it's just not working for me for whatever reason, and I don't know why. So I can't even talk to this because I don't remember. So I don't have a lot to bring to this podcast. I'm gonna go to bed. No, I'm just kidding. What I wrote down though was that yes, it sounds like the last two. I think the college rock was kind of a good reference because to me it just sounds kind of like, I feel like I could hear this in like a college bar, and like this would be something that's yeah, they're just like jamming out on stage. I thought it felt like the 90s. Not
Although
the
that was
90s.
you mentioned college rock, because another reason I thought of this is my first pick was an REM album. I mean, the band that you see next to the definition of college rock is REM. Looks like that genre was invented for like the bands from Athens, Georgia in the 1980s.
Oh, okay.
UGA.
REM is very melodic. Like, so like that works, you know. I didn't love that, but it worked. But anyways, so yeah, I apologize. I don't have a lot to say about this one. I thought it just sounded very much like the last two. I didn't get enough of the fastball reference on this one, but there's another one coming up in a little bit that was super fastball-y to me. So yeah, this is not that great in my eyes, in my humble opinion, as Angela Chase would say.
All right.
All right, Siskel's and Eberts. Let's do some ratings. Doug, to you first.
71.
86 for me. Dylan?
96.
65.
We're all over the place on this one. This is going to be really
All
interesting.
over. It's like we're taking a dart and we just throw it and we see where it hits. Haven't gone too low yet. We haven't seen any 50s.
Yeah. It's hard to give a 50. Like, this is
Yeah.
even. This
Yeah, that
is
seems
at
like
least music.
incompetent. Whereas like
Yeah.
We very rarely go that
We
low.
had a 40 once.
I gave a 4 Sticks by Led Zeppelin a 40. That thing sucks.
what? Okay, well
That's unlistenable. I hated it. The rest of the album was fine, but that was the turd in the punch bowl.
You
Fine?
offended-
A little
you
more than
offended-
fine for Led Zeppelin 4.
Yeah.
All right, let's
right.
keep moving, guys. We're moving on to
yeah.
the fourth song here is called Would Not Be Denied.
The city's not my own. This world is not my home. I carry it on my back as far as my feet will roam. I opened up my eyes, offered up my coat, opened up my mouth, but not tied in my throat. And I will not be denied. Will not be denied. If not for innocence, my guilt would stop right here. Living all my life in the span of just 1 year.
3 minutes, 46 seconds. I'm going to get us going. I like that we're sort of slowing it back down. We do this kind of like roller coastery, fast, slow. I'm down for that, guys. A lot of people out there complain about that kind of stuff, but I like it. I also like a bunch of like upfront rockers is good too, but I'm down for this. This is probably the award for most improved song through the 10 times I listened. I think it started off where it was like kind of but it grew on me. There's some nice guitar parts. I like the production and layering of the guitar. This is the one where I think Toad the Wet Sprocket comes out the most, where I start to feel like we're listening to that. The intro ends up being kind of the hook chorus, which is interesting because I don't know if we've done that yet, but that's definitely a thing in music where the intro kind of ends up being like that hook of the song. His vocals hit a high spot in the chorus that's like this cherry. I can't think of it right now, but when you get there, it's like, problem is it takes a minute and a half to get there, but it's nice when you get there. So let's see. They do some nice production layering. I wrote down the verse is my favorite part. seems wordy. The song felt like he was talking a lot. I didn't look at the words for the song, but it just seemed like there was a lot of lyrics happening in there. Yeah, overall, this is pretty decent. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's going to end up being fairly up the middle for me. I don't think it's that memorable. I can see how if like I liked this album and knew it for years, something like this would probably stick out. But for me, it's since I don't know it, it's probably won't remember it. To you, Dylan.
To me, so I think that the context for this one with the lyrics is that what the three members of Buffalo Tom have in common, they're all Catholic, and they all talk about sort of growing up with like Catholic guilt with, Catholic parents or whatever. And this album, this particular song gets into some of that, where I'm not Catholic, none of you guys aren't either, but like, I know enough Catholic people, enough about culture to, know or whatever. And so, lines like, if not for innocence, my guilt would stop right here, reliving all my life in the span of just 1 year. There's some confession elements to there. And the next line, my mouth's a hurricane. That sounds like confessing. So I think that that's sort of the context for this. I think musically, yeah, we're there's definitely sort of a rockin' more subdued toggle back and forth on this record. I don't think this is as strong as I'm Allowed when we're talking about those going back and forth. So for me, in the sequence of this album, this is actually the weakest of the four that we've talked about so far. But I have an attachment to every song on this album, and I think probably the strongest point of this one is the lyrics.
Yeah, now that I'm looking at it, it's like, please don't punish me for things I have not said. Yeah. It fits right in with
this is a very Catholic guilt confessing song.
Totally. For me, I think I liked the chorus the best. Like, I thought that the melody of the verses were just kind of, and then when he comes in with the way he's kind of screaming, I think it's the chorus. I don't even know what part it is, honestly. It's so hard for me to discern, like,
it just will
verses
not be
and
denied.
choruses,
Will not be denied.
Yeah, but like he's screaming it, right? And so like
Well, I think that's subjective. I would not call that screaming, but I listen to some music where there's some real screaming. So
his voice is going up, and it's louder and I don't
Up and
know.
loud.
Belting.
Belty.
Yeah, belting.
Okay, sure. I liked that part, but still overall, I thought it was kind of bleh. I did write down that the background music is kind of nice, but I don't remember it. But I did write that down. So yeah, I feel like I have more things to say soon, but this is kind of boring.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think this one's a little boring, but I think the once again, like, I kind of like the same parts you like about it, which is that will not be denied when he's kind of letting it out.
Screaming.
This, whatever you want to call it, making mouth noises. He makes mouth noises good during that part. Makes mouth noises well. I really like that, and I didn't quite. Now that you said the Catholic thing, that really unlocked it, because what I was getting was it's that feeling of like, I want to get something off my chest and I can't. But what's in there is like powerful, and when I let it out, there's going to be like a lot of force when that comes out, and like I think that pairs well with the way he sings, like, will not be denied. He's like, I don't want to feel guilty about this shit anymore. Like, I am what I am. This is me. I will not be denied. Fuck you, I guess, guy on the other side of that screen. So I like, again, once again, like I found myself, like, even if I wasn't as totally engaged by the music, like, I think the way he's expressing these thoughts is really good. So yeah.
Really quick, something that I missed. The reason that the song is going to be the rating that it is, because I forgot to say the bridge is really solid for the song. I had that written down, but I forgot. I really like the bridge. It's different from the rest of the song, which brings me to the rating that it will get, which is a 77. Dylan, to you.
I give this one an 83.
65.
60.
Wow, you guys are a little low over there, Annalise Oviedo.
65.
60.
Oh, you got less than me.
I did.
Did you guys do it twice?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you acted like you didn't hear us, so we made sure you did.
Cool. You don't get to add those together, so it's not like 60 and 60.
No.
Kyle's drunk. Kyle's blinking things at me. He's got like a code. If you
We're
guys are
chilling.
noticing.
Except you're the one texting me what the code should be. So what do you expect me to do? All right. Let's
What?
keep it moving here.
All right.
Fifth track on this album. We got 11 songs to do. This is number 5. This is Latest Monkey.
His tears they sing, crusty, rusted in a box inside a drawer. Grandpa's news, fragile words are yellow through forevermore.
This is 2 minutes, 47 seconds. Dylan, go ahead and get us moving.
This is my favorite in terms of just hooky pop melody. Just the going, I'm gone, go away, going. That's all great. The lyrics I don't find quite as evocative as some of the others on here, but there's some good, some good phrases in there. There's definitely something about nostalgia in this. He keeps mentioning and just the past. There keeps being this mention of formaldehyde, and grandpa, fragile words yellowed through. So there's something going on with nostalgia in here. But to me, what I just really like about this song is just sort of just the hooky, propulsive energy, and so whereas I said that I thought the strength of the prior song was its lyrics, I think the strength of this one is its melody, and particularly its vocal melody. I also really like the interplay between the two singers. Bill Janovitz is the lead singer for most of this, but you hear Chris Colburn, the bass player, doing a nice counter melody here. On the way, I'm on the way. So that's this for me in terms of just vocal melodies is my favorite on that record.
On one of the songs, I wrote down that I was like, is that the same lead singer? But it wasn't this one. But there's another one that it sounds like...
There are two singers.
Okay.
We'll get to the other one.
Okay, yeah, so okay. I thought I was going crazy because I was like, this voice doesn't sound the same. I agree with you. Like, this is such a breath of fresh air. I mean, in terms of this record. But I was so happy to get here because it was like catchy and hooky. And I was like, finally, this was the song I thought sounded like Fastball a lot. And it's really short. I like appreciate the edit of it. It's just like short and sweet and like, it's just the perfect length. There's a guitar break that I like. I thought that musically it did still have the like remnants of the other songs. Like you could see the cohesion, but that the verse melody was better on this one. So I was just happy that I had a melody, upbeat, catchy, better than the others. And I didn't understand the monkey. Tell me more, Doug, about the monkey. But yeah, overall, this was I liked it a little bit.
Yeah, I think this is great. Like, I really like this one. Just the way it opens, right? Like, it's got this bounce to it, and then he starts off that melodic line really high, which is interesting. That the newest clown, da 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 da. Like, he starts at the top and kind of works his way down. There's a great trade off between major and minor chords, I think, in this song that really keeps it like interesting and pretty. The way I interpreted the lyrics, is like he's like whatever the past is, he's trying to get away from that. He's like, that's the old whatever. I'm off to the new stuff. I'm a ball bouncing off of a brick wall into the day I'm going. Like I'm literally like just ricocheting off the past and going forward as fast as I can. That's kind of how I interpret what that's about. The monkey thing, latest monkey, I don't get the title there's only one reference. He says the line about the monkey's the one who laughs last. I don't get it. It's fine. Hopefully, Dylan, you can explain it, but I didn't get that. But I got the vibe of the song well enough. And yeah, that counterpoint is cool. That like while he's singing, I'm gone, going away or whatever. You've got Colbert. He's low in the mix too. Like there's a lo-fi kind of just like way low there.
Yeah, there's a filter on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I think it adds a little more. You can really feel like that the two singers are at like different depths, to use like that kind of a thought of it. Like he's keeping Colburn way down there. Like it's not just two voices. Like it's two very different timbres as well sonically. So yeah, this is one of my favorites on the album easily. This is another one I was happy to revisit every time. I was like, oh good, we're at this one. This one rocks.
Okay. You guys might like this more than me, but I certainly don't not like it. So it's shortest song on the album. I like that intro hook thing that kind of happens throughout. It's pretty catchy there. I like the layers of guitar. Yes, Amy, fastball. I did write that down. This does remind me of fastball. Not as much as that other one, but it does have the vibe. This is where I noticed that so the major one chord is big. They use like the one major for a lot. But they like going to the major 2 chord, which is not really standard because typically in a regular scale, like the 2 chord is a minor, but like this band likes to go to the 2 major, and that's cool. That's pretty common to do in music, but it's just noticeable, which is fine. But they do it in more than one of their songs, so it's not annoying at all. But just me as like kind of a music, I just kind of noticed that they use that same kind of progression. I like the feel for the song a lot. It is upbeat. I think that the melody is good in the verse. I think, Amy, you said this is the one where the verse melody grabbed you or something like that. It does grab me, but the chorus melody is just kind of weak. I don't hate it, but I just didn't love it. There's some sweet spots throughout, but this one doesn't have like the sweet spot throughout the whole song for me. But the fact that it's short is very nice because it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's kind of in and out in like less than 3 minutes. So it ends up being a pretty good score. I just think I'm probably not as good as any of you guys, but this is fine. Yeah. I think that's all of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. Dylan, ratings to you first.
95.
75.
89.
70. What latest monkey? 79. I was higher than you, Amy. Interesting. I feel like you liked it more.
It's all relative for her.
I guess so.
It's all relative.
Yeah. All right. We're at the midpoint, literally, number 6 out of 11 on the album. This song is called My Responsibility.
I don't like that face, no, no, no. And I don't want to walk your pace, but I don't like that cold, far away look on the toe. But I don't think you'll find a eye where you have lost your mind. But I don't think you know how much I love to scold you. I can't make this change, no, no, no. It's you that I have to blame. Suppose I can find your bone.
This is 3:33, and Amy, you're going to get us going on this one.
I can't remember the melody. What's wrong with me that I can't remember the melody on any of these? But when I was listening, I did think it was kind of catchy. That's what I wrote down. There's a slight music break that I thought was nice. I noticed I was not really connecting emotionally with any of this, so I wrote that down. This is the one that I noticed that the vocals sounded different, so this must be the other singer.
It is.
Okay. And I thought that the structure was interesting, but now that I'm looking at it, I can't really remember. Does it just take him a long time to get to the chorus?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
There's 2 verses before the chorus, yeah.
And then, God, I sound like such a terrible podcaster because I have nothing to say. That's basically all I have to say. There's a part, I'm referencing it, but I don't remember what it is. It says it goes up on 1, which is better, the You're My Responsibility. So the way he's singing it, I guess he's making it like
That's
interesting.
the chorus, yeah.
Okay. I guess I liked that part. Sorry, Dylan. I really tried. I listened to this thing like 20 times.
All right, so this one is interesting to me. This one is almost like kind of maybe it's because they switched the lead singer too, really kind of changing the overall sound. This has kind of a 60s sound to me. Like it's more kind of, again, stripped down a little bit. And then those kind of like no's in there, that feels very 60s to me, to have that kind of a little bit of a call and response. So I liked that. This whole, like, you're my responsibility. Like, he's talking about being responsible for this other person who, like, he talks about them both being dead during the course of the song. He talks about, what if I can't find your bones under the house, which is a creepy image. But he talks about, him being more than a friendly ghost. Like, he's haunting her. So somewhere along the way, something has gone wrong with his ability to, like, kind of take care of this person who maybe doesn't want his help. There's again, like, there's some complex, like, thoughts going into these lyrics. So I can't guarantee I've interpreted them correctly, but, like, there's some interesting, like there's a lot of insecurity about the person singing them. It feels like, for me, and so I appreciated that. I think overall, again, it's a little bit of a down. It's a mid-tempo song. It could be a little boring in places, but, like, I still think there's interesting ideas happening here.
Yeah, it's not misery. I mean, there's no misery here on this album. So yeah, back to mid-tempo. I'm down. I think this one's pretty boring, though. There's not a lot happening. I think not now, knowing that there's a different singer. I didn't really realize that, guys. Although I just realized that the vocals didn't seem strong as what my brain did, but I get it. To me, it came out as the verse melodies were actually kind of boring, but maybe it's just the singer wasn't as good as the lead singer. So I don't know. I'd have to revisit that. So there's, like, these instrumental breaks that happen in between verses that, like, I get it. Like, let's do that. Let's do instrumental breaks. But there's nothing happening. It's just the chords, and it's very boring. I'm down with stuff like that if you, like, maybe just do it once, like 5 seconds here, but they do it repeatedly. Yeah, so that kind of hurts it a little bit. It's just boringness. It's kind of like empty space. Like, I just wish there was something better. I think in general that I wish that there was another lead instrument on this album doing things. The vocals is good, and I said that earlier, and I do like the singer, and I like some of the melodies, but I wish that there was another lead instrument. This song kind of feels unfinished to me, is what I wrote down. Like, I think just melodically and overall, there could just be more. But the tone and the feel and the production and all that is fine. So there's no way that this is going to be like some sort of, misery rating. They do the 1 to 5 chord a lot on this song, which is kind of monotonous. I think they do that a lot on the album. Like, they tend to use, I wrote it down at some point, I guess later, but they use, like, a lot of the same chords, not necessarily the same key, but the same, like, chords in the progression. Let's see, what else do I have? I think that's just about it. It's not a treacherous song, but this is just, I'd kind of just rather not listen to this. Dylan, your turn.
Yeah, so this is sung by, and probably principally written by, the other guy who sings in the band, Chris Colburn. He's the guy who sings Late at Night. But he's not the main lead singer. It's Bill Janovitz. My headline is, I think this is the weakest song on the album. I do not think that Chris Colburn is as talented as Bill Janovitz. I just don't. I think live it comes through even more, where Bill is extremely energetic. His voice is very strong, and I do not think that live Chris is as much, although he seems like a lovely guy. And I actually once interviewed him in college. But anyway, but they... Yeah, I don't think this is as strong of a song. I've heard this album so many times over literally decades that, they all have a warm spot in my heart, but I don't think his lyrics have the same foundational structure to them. I think he's winging it a little more with the lyrics, and yeah, I like that. I like that the structure is different. It's not just verse chorus. I think that's probably the strongest thing, is that he sort of repeats this, like, verse form and then goes to, like, this, what you call, like, the chorus form, and then he doesn't go back to the verse. So I like that's different, and I think that structural element is the strongest part of the song. But I also think that of the 11 songs, it's the weakest on the album.
All right, let's get to some ratings. Amy, why don't you get us there?
7-0.
77.
It's a 68 for me.
And I'll go 79.
All right. Pretty low. Not horrible, but pretty low. Let's move on to the 7th song here. This one is called Dry Land.
Come September, cold mornings open up, making decisions, and color egos will erupt. What did you find? Hidden in your mind's deep recess, going gets tough. You and I must take a rest. Come on, darling, coming into your road. Hey, that's not my fault. Come on to this giant. Won't you let me live? Come on to this giant.
Three minutes, 17 seconds. Doug, go ahead.
This is the third song that sounds like Soda Jerk to me. This is, I have a very hard time differentiating this one. This kind of this squishy middle of the album is the hardest part for me. And like, he says, I've had too much to drink. I'm tired and need some sleep. Like, it's like, we've kind of had songs already about, I've been drunk and I got in trouble for being drunk. There are some other lines here. Cold mornings open up, make incisions, and cut egos will erupt. Like, just the word incisions alone, that is not a word you often hear in lyrics, unless you're some goth metal band or whatever. Like, there's something kind of fun about that. But this one didn't speak to me very much. I just remember hearing this and feeling like I've kind of heard this. We've done 2 of these now. And this is what I was talking about. I was like, if you had just thrown a capo on there and put it in B flat, something to make it not sound like those 2, it would stand out in my mind more. But because it feels like it's literally the exact same chords at roughly the same tempo, like somebody in the booth needed to go like, wait a minute, you got to do something to make this different than the others. So that was the problem I had with it. Like, it's on its own, like it's bright, it's bouncy, it's fun. It's got energy, but it's just, it's one of those things where it's like individually that might be fine for this song, but with 2 others already, like, it just kind of felt like, okay, we can't do that. We've got to do something else. So, so I was kind of lukewarm on this.
Okay. Yeah, me too. I do like the guitar part, even though it does remind me of a few of the earlier tracks on the album, but I still like it, and I like that there's the layering that they do. It's not just one guitar, right? They either, left and right or overdub, whatever. And I like that. I like that production stuff. Pre-chorus to this one is pretty strong. It's got the 2 to 5 chord progression, which is pretty, standard pre-chorusy stuff. I just didn't like that there wasn't like a strong chorus to follow it up. So it kind of left me a little bit bored throughout, but it's not horrible. I liked there was a solo over the pre-chorus, which was nice. And I actually liked that solo I wrote down. I remember that being a pretty solid solo. After the solo, it goes to like this kind of acoustic breakdown part, which is like kind of nice and refreshing because there hasn't been anything like that at this point in the album. It didn't last for very long, but it was kind of a nice, like, change. I wanted the melody for this song to like go up to like some high like root note, but it never gets there. So I think it kind of ends up falling a little flat because the melody doesn't take me to a place, but still the feel and the production are pretty nice. So there's no way that something like this is going to get any bad rating, but it's not going to be overly good because the melody never like hits the G spot for me. Dylan, to you.
Yeah, I think this is a very strong song by itself, but I agree with you that with both of you that it does in the context of the album suffer from being similar. I don't think to Soda Jerk, but I do think it's similar to Treehouse and Latest Monkey. and I don't think it's as good as those two songs. But there are some good things. I agree with you, Kyle. I really like that guitar solo. It's short but sweet, and it just, again, it's not flashy, but it's like intentional. And as mentioned, if you see him live, he'll flash it up a little more. He can definitely, play fancier than he does on the record. But I like that it's sort of restrained in the way that it is. Yeah, I think that if this album didn't also have Soda Jerk and Latest Monkey, this would stand out a little more. But I do think of those three, which I think are the three songs on the record that sound the most. I said Soda Jerk, I didn't mean that. Treehouse and Latest Monkey, and this one. I think those three are the ones that sound the most alike. And I think of those three, this is the weakest of them. But it's very catchy to me, and I always enjoy hearing it. It just makes me happy to hear it.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Doug on this one, where it does remind me of the other songs a lot. I feel like the guitar, again, I thought was kind of up in the mix. So for me, it just kind of felt noisy and very jammy. I think if I was producing this album, which, I'm so qualified to do, I would have like really slowed it down. I think it could have been really nice, like making this into like a ballad in some way. So I feel like a little editing could have been maybe helpful for this record. Again, I wrote down feels like a college band. I didn't take it too seriously. There's a short guitar hook that I liked. But still, I just not really a fan of it. That's all I have.
All right. Some ratings. Doug?
65.
74 for me.
90.
65. Ding, 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 ding.
Not quite the trio or the quad, but two of you.
That's not going to happen.
Not with four. That's almost impossible.
That's like what is it? And there's a trifecta in horse racing. What's the four?
Tetrafecta?
I don't know. I'm sure I'll think of it later. But let's move on to the next track on this album, which is going to be the 8th. This is called Torch Singer.
Though your miles are more than mine, the things I've taken in a bind, it's for certain, it's for sure, I've no use for them no more. Making room within oneself for another song to help, and it all comes back to me as I walk home over down the street. And it all comes back to me. And it all comes back to me as I walk home over down the street. She's a mother in disguise. I look different in the skies. But it's morning, so I say, here's a big red letter day. Skins like whitewash, like steaming up. Words sing soft, it's just like
3 minutes, 3 seconds. And it looks like it's got my name on it to go first. All right, let's see. So acoustic guitar as the main rhythm instrument on this one, which was nice. It's got these quick little breaks between the verses that I liked. The melody is overall like nice. It's not like amazing, but I liked it. I like the "and it all comes back to me" part. He goes into a higher register, like he sings higher, and I like when his voice goes up like that. I think maybe I would like it in general if his voice was higher and higher registered. Maybe if all these songs were up like a key or two, it would be a little bit better, but it's still decent overall. The whole album, that is. To me, this is the title track because he says Red Letter Day in there. I'll let you guys talk more about the lyrics. I don't really know much about what he's saying. 10 listens in a couple weeks doesn't give me enough time. I didn't analyze the words. Let's see. Decent feel. Not super memorable. I don't think this is one that I would take back and listen to a lot. It sounded nice in the headphones I wrote down. I always listen to all these albums, guys, in headphones. I get them in the car. I get them in headphones. This one, just in general, this album, it's just got a nice production. It's very full in the headphones. It's good. But the song itself is just, this isn't going to be wonderful for me, but I don't hate it by any means. Dylan, to you.
This is probably the song that when I first got this album and was listening to it, this probably struck me the least, and I liked, maybe it was my least favorite song. and it's really grown on me, and now it's one of my favorite songs on the album over many years of repeated listens. It is very simple. It's I mean, there's most of these songs on this album are simple, but this is probably as simple as it gets. But again, to me, that just feels very intentional, like a choice, and I wouldn't I wouldn't add complexity to it because I think it really works. I think that the lyrics, again, I think both the melody and the lyrics are sort of the high points. The phrase "red letter day," or as the album says, "big red letter day," that again comes from like Catholic culture, I believe, although it also has like a secular meaning of like a red letter day is just a special day, something that I think it comes originally from like saints' days and stuff like that. But it, because I think the red letter does refer to something on like a calendar, anyway, I'm not the expert on this, but I know that's where it comes from. And now red letter day is like a day to be celebrated. And what I love about this is, what's the red letter day says? But it's morning, so I say it's a big red letter day, meaning it's just, I'm here another day. And this is another song where he talks a lot about being drunk, being sort of, thinking about things that have been lost in the past. He literally says the phrase, "She just climbed the stage and died." Did she literally die? Or he says her voice trailed off in the end. It sounds like someone is either literally dead or out of his life. Talks about being walking hungover down the street, and it all comes back to me. And then later in the song, he says, "But it's morning, so I'll say it's a big red letter day. I'm still here," and there's there's a real melancholy to this. There's a real melancholy to most of their lyrics. But for this, I just think it's simple. It's bittersweet. And I just think it really works at what it aims to do. So this is the single song on the album that has grown the most on me over the many years I've listened to it.
Okay. Well, I just looked up Big Red Letter Day. And yeah, you're right. It describes a day when something exciting or significant happens, such as a personal achievement, a celebration, or historic event. And then during the Middle Ages, initial capitals and rubrics in manuscripts were written in red to distinguish them from the ordinary text. So that's a little bit of history for you.
There we go.
That's about all I could bring to this podcast. I actually
And good night.
I know. I liked this one too. I don't remember it, but it has a higher score, so I obviously liked it. I thought the verse melody, it felt more accessible to me, so maybe more mainstream a little bit, which, that's just me. Mm-hmm. I'm a little bit more of a mainstream appreciator. I did think that there's like a guitar backing that felt like kind of repetitive that I didn't love. And I thought the long verse before the chorus, which isn't the first time that he's done that, but that's just kind of the structure of it. I guess he likes that structure. And then there's a part that kind of changes a little that I really liked, but I couldn't sing it back at you right now. But it's when it's like, as I walk hungover down the street, choose another, I guess it changes there. Mm-hmm. And then there's some really nice harmonies. So yeah, overall, this got a better score than some of the previous ones. So yay.
This thing does something I kind of appreciate when a song does this, which is there's a kind of a resonance between what he's singing about and the sound of the song. And he's talking about basically walking down the street through a lot of this. And there's something kind of very sing-songy, like, bum, ba, ba, do, ba, do, do, do. It's a big red letter day. Like there's kind of a like sound like that he's literally just kind of whistling as he heads down the sidewalk, sort of. There's this very like nice kind of bounce back and forth in this melody that's, I think, more distinctive than some of the other melodies on the album. It's a little easier to like sink my teeth into. And I like what he's talking about, which is that, right, there's this girl that he likes. But it's not happening. He says there's miles between our hearts, right? It's like there's a distance that won't be closed. He's hungover, but there's like a positivity to it. We're like, well, like it's morning and it's a big red light. Today's gonna be all right anyway. Like whatever. I face planted last night, but tomorrow's another day, and let's see how this goes, kind of thing. And so I like that positivity of it. And so yeah, this isn't getting one of my highest scores, but I do appreciate this song. Like I get what he's going for, and I think it's pretty well executed.
All right. Let's do some ratings. So for me, this song is the definition of a 75. It's right there in that middle, not an 80, but not like low. So 75 definition it is.
Am I next? No.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
94. 94.
Okay. It's a 75 for me. So ding, ding, ding.
73. Very close for the three of
Almost.
us. Yeah.
All right, let's keep it moving here. Ninth song. As it's getting late at night here and past midnight in Alabama, the song's called Late at Night.
I close my door at night, but they get in alright when she turns on the light. I held her hand so tight, 'cause words don't come out right, and she sees things at night. Me, I'm closer to the door. I don't get scared no more, but I don't know the score. If I could hold them in my hand, I'd make them understand. I'm not a haunted mind, I'm not a thoughtless kind. If I could put them in a jar, I know they wouldn't starve. I'd do it if I could. I hope you know I would.
Three minutes, 59 seconds. Dylan, go ahead and get us moving on this one.
Yeah, this is Late at Night. This is for non-fans of the band, their best-known song because it was on My So-Called Life. It is the second song in the record sung by Chris Colburn, the bass player. He usually sings 2 to 4 songs on what their records. I think maybe one he sings 5 on. This particular record only sings 2. And so, yeah, for a lot of people, this is the song that they know from Buffalo Tom. I do not think it's the most representative song of them. This is a song kind of the opposite for me of Torch Singer, where that was probably my, like I said, Torch Singer I just liked more and more over time. This song has not aged as well for me. I don't love I just think that the rhyme scheme is just like more rudimentary. It's just like he just really is pushing hard to hit the rhymes, and I don't think it's quite as elegant. I'm also not a person who necessarily even cares if things do rhyme, but this just feels like it's pushing a little bit. I think the melody is a little too sing-songy for me. It's catchy for sure, but this is a song where I think when I first got the record, this was my favorite song on it, and now it's near the bottom. It's probably my second or third least favorite song on the album, but I like the whole album, so obviously I picked it. So I think that, when I always assume that if people know anything about this band, it's this song, and I always think, well, that's a little too bad because it's not representative. It reminds me of sort of like people hearing No Rain by Blind Melon and thinking that's what Blind Melon sounded like when they were like extremely bluesy. It's not representative of them. I'm glad that it got them some notice back in the 90s, and I think it's fine. It's catchy for sure, but it's just especially I think the verse is also catchier than the chorus. I think the chorus is a bit weaker, but I do not think this is their best song by any stretch.
I do. It's so dang catchy. It's just, it just speaks to you and I, Dylan, that you think it's the worst and I think it's the best. That tracks for other podcasts we've done together. But I feel like this is the obvious hit. Finally, I'm so happy. This one's memorable. Maybe it's because I've heard it for 30 years or whatever. But it really is hooky and melodic and pretty and soft and sweet and I don't know, the lyrics to me, I get it. There's some really nice harmonies. I didn't realize that it wasn't the same singer, but maybe it's because that there's some more layering on the vocals that it just didn't.
He harmonizes like Bill
Yeah.
Janovich, our normal singer. He you hear his voice on there, but it's not the lead vocal.
Yeah. Lyrically, I was trying to like analyze it. I never really looked at them before. I'm trying to figure out like what is he trying? Is he trying to catch like fireflies or bugs or something, and he's killing them by trapping them? Like kind of like a metaphor for like.
It's about a woman, but it's not as deep in my opinion.
I don't know. I mean, he's talking about they're getting in at night. If I could hold them in my hand, I'd make them understand. And you put them in a jar. Like there's some sort of connection there between like maybe like a bug and his like feelings or something, or like I don't know, love. I don't really know. But it was easier for me to dig into this one. I still don't love it, but I think against the others, it's like the real standout of it. And of course, it like conjures all these memories of loving my so-called life. So this was my favorite one.
Yeah, I like this one as well. I agree with you, Dylan. Though the lyrics here, like somebody went out and got their rhyming dictionary, because like when you look at it, it like especially when you see it typed up, it's like, oh, this is very simplistic in terms of the lyrics. When we've been talking about some of the way more interesting things in some of the other songs, these like interesting turns of phrases and like metaphors and the way they're built on top of the. And this is very just like, you know. If I could hold them in my hand, I'd make them understand. Like this is very like rudimentary in terms of lyrics, but I like the melody a lot. I like the production a lot. It is catchy. So for me, this is one of my higher grades. Like because I can kind of put the lyrics aside and just kind of feel like this is a nice vibe. This is definitely like the song that the high school kids hold hands to for the first time.
And he goes and grabs her hand because he can't say the words, but he knows how much it means to her. Dylan, did you ever watch that show?
Just a few episodes. Okay. It didn't grab me.
Again, this episode where everyone's walking around just constantly going like, but everyone's going to go to see Buffalo Tom tonight. Buffalo Tom, Buffalo Tom, Buffalo Tom. It's very weird in that episode.
So rude.
How dare I? But yeah, I'm getting back to the song. I just that just nice kind of descending line through the da 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 ba na 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 na, like the melodically all these lines kind of pair with each other really well, and so and the harmonies are good. Like I think the two of them harmonizing together on this really kind of like especially those last like was it I'd do it if I could, I hope you know I would. Those like locked in harmonies really kind of give the song a nice like feel to it. So this is going to get one of my higher ratings.
It's weird that this is the song that was in the show and this is the one that Amy remembers, because obviously I don't remember it, so there's none of that, but this is not stand out for me at all. It's kind of cool going into this experiment, because Dylan, you said this isn't one of your favorites, and Amy, like it is like your favorite, but for me, like knowing nothing about this, it's like, yeah, this is not stand out. It's not bad, not going to be the worst, but definitely not the least. So immediately this one reminded me of a Mike Viola song. What up, Sophie? I don't know which one it was, but there was something, and then it just sounded familiar. There's like a nice blend of keyboards and guitars happening in the song, which I liked. I like that it's slow. I think up to this point, it's probably the slowest tempo, so it's a nice little change from what we've been doing. I think that this is where I really start to realize the chords that he uses are very much the same. Again, different keys, I'm sure, but there's lots of like the normal chords, the ones and the fives and the twos and the fours and the sixes, like the stuff that everyone uses, he does. There's not a lot of like the altering and going to weird things happening, and this is just another example of that. Not a bad thing, but I'm just saying I notice it. There's a guitar solo on this. I wrote down nothing fancy, but glad it's there. I don't know why I wrote that, but I guess it did something for me. I didn't love the chorus on this one. I thought that the verses was the stronger, more memorable part. Overall, the melody's not really bad. It just doesn't hit like these cherry spots and take me to a special place. But again, the production, the guitars, just the music is pleasant. So it's going to be a fine rating for me.
I think it's actually the longest guitar solo on the album, which is interesting because this is one where the guitarist is not the lead singer, so he gets his little moment by taking a longer guitar solo.
The longest, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's do some ratings. Dylan, you're going to kick us off.
Yeah, I'm going to give this one 84.
85.
88.
75 for me. I suppose we should get moving Track number 10. This is called Suppose.
I suppose you lost your patience. I'm just too gone to call. Squint my eyes, forget the reason. Now it don't look so bad at all. Suppose you left home in the morning. Traveled on a train all day. Passing that time by a greenhouse. Still be a long way. Too far gone.
3 minutes, 13 seconds. Amy, go ahead.
This is back to like we're back to what they all the other ones sound like to me. I wrote down, I'm running out of things to say. Every back music sounds the same to me. There's one part I liked. So there's the pronunciation. There's like a note that he holds on, I lost my breath along the ride, but I don't remember the melody, so I couldn't sing it for you right now, which is probably a good thing. You don't want me singing anyways. And sorry, I don't have anything else to add.
All right. Well, I'll pick
make
up
it quick.
then. I enjoy this one. This one has a little bit more of a minor flair to it. It's got a propulsive kind of sound. I like just that suppose, like he kind of the way he holds on that, makes a meal out of that O sound over and over again. It's repetitive, but it's like catchy, and so I'm happy to hear it. I don't know what he's singing about exactly, but I just like the overall vibe and the feel of this. Again, it's a different set of chords for this album. It's a different like structure, and so I'm happy to go along with it. And it's a nice breath of kind of like energy, because even though I like Late at Night, it's slow. Like this like gets the the BPMs up again. So I'm happy with this one.
All right. So the thing I noticed at first is the chord progression, which is cool because it does the whole like major, the four major to the minor thing, which I like. The only issue I have is that it's basically the whole song. It's still a good hook, but it just kind of does it too much. The auxiliary guitar work in this song I like. There's I think some sort of slide stuff happening. It's kind of quiet, but it was pleasant. It was pretty nice. The tempo to this song picks up. I didn't line it up against a metronome, but I'm pretty sure that they speed up, which I kind of don't like as a musician, but I like it as like a fan of just like music because that means that, they weren't lined up with a click track and they just busted it out and played it live. So that's cool. I appreciate that, but it's just obvious to me. Let's see. There's lots of energy towards the end of the song. It's a cool hooky jam part they wrote. Yeah. So the whole song is like the whole hooky chord progression thing that's like all of it. Yeah, to me they never finished writing this song. I don't think it's bad. The feel is good, production's good. I like some of the parts, but I just feel like they could have spent a little more time like getting creative with it, but it's fine. It's not horrible.
So they have on a number of their records, they sort of do have a little bit of like slots that they fill in. As I mentioned, that they've got sort of often this melancholy second track, and I'm Allowed sounds a lot like their most beloved song, Taillights Fade. They also tend to have like a high energy second to last track, and this sort of fills that slot. And I really like this. I think especially coming out of Late at Night, I just think it gives that nice jolt. It's a little more soulful. It's one of the more produced songs on the record. There's a lot of different instruments in there. Some of them are pretty subtle. As Kyle was saying, there's that slide part that's good. And I love this album. I mean this song specifically. It also reminds me a little of Treehouse with like sort of these like sort of soulful outro. So I actually think this is one of the stronger tracks on the album, and I love the jolt of energy as we get almost to the very end. And I love certain lines in it, like that she's the bastard child of reason. It's a great image in that, and just the statement, I love the world and all its problems, which is actually printed in the liner notes.
All right, let's do some ratings. Amy?
65.
82.
72.
97.
Whoa, way up there. It's a high one. Okay.
Yep.
All right. We are going to close us out here with the last song on the album. Track number 11 is Anything That Way.
The moon was full of your whiskey sour. Oh, girl, there's no need to be so down. 'Cause when you walk with me in the beginning of the day, you see I don't need anything that way. I'm wishing things could be the same. When things got broken, you came. My moods were always changing. They were blue, then brown, then gray. You see, I don't need anything that way. You see, I don't need anything that way. I'm fighting tooth and nail against these demons in my head. No matter
4 minutes, 58 seconds. This is the longest one. Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, it's a little long, and it's a little slow, which I think works against it. It's it's pleasant and it's kind of sweet, but yeah, it's like as a closer, like it. I think if you're trying to put the audience to kind of bed of like, and now we're finishing up. You could probably do this in like 3.5 minutes and probably get it there. That said, I think the way the melody resolves on the every time he sings anything that I don't need anything that way, I think is really pretty. I think that lyrically this is interesting in that it's one of those songs about kind of feeling like I don't know, I'm out of place, I don't know where I'm supposed to be. He says like I'm fighting tooth and nail against these demons in my head, and no matter where I'm sleeping, my history's right there in bed. Wherever you go, there you are. Right? I can't get like unlike Latest Monkey, where he's like talking about like I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm going to go off and do my own thing. This is kind of like I can't because I can never escape myself. This is kind of what he's talking about. And like then it ends with this thing about the mailman came. I have no mail for. Got nothing for you today. I went outside in the morning time, but I got lost along the way. Like this is about feeling aimless. This song, and he's like, I don't need anything that way. Again, it's kind of like, well, but it's gonna be all right. Whatever. What can you do? Eh? As like a shrug. So I don't exactly know what all of that is supposed to add up to, other than this kind of feeling like, well, I guess this is just life. It's just weird, and I do what I can. I kind of to swim against the current. So I like it, but I don't love it. Like I said, it's not entirely cohesive to me as a thought lyrically, and like musically, it's just kind of like it's fine. That doesn't get me excited. I don't hate it, but it doesn't like move the needle.
Okay. I like this one. I was a little worried because when it comes to a closer on an album, it's sometimes people do really bold things, and sometimes people don't. Sometimes it goes kind of crappy. The last several 5-ish, 8-ish songs have not been very high in the ratings. They haven't been low, but they've been in like, the 70s or so. So I thought that the last one was not going to be good, but I think that this is actually a very good closer. It actually came back up for me. I like that it starts off with that single guitar. It's got a bunch of reverb on it. I like that it's broken down. I like the chords. I think it's just a 1-5-4 is what I wrote down. That's very classic rock feel. I think his voice sounds very strong on this song. He goes up into a higher register. Overall, the sound and the feel of it is just very pleasant. I didn't pay attention to the lyrics really a lot on this album, except for a few earlier songs, but this one I didn't really pay attention to. But the overall feel, chorus, tone, there's other slide guitar at this one that happens. It's just this wide open feel of a song. And I know what you mean, Doug. Like, it could have been shorter, and I agree. But this is the last song, and they haven't really had a song where they just kind of like not care and just kind of do their thing. So I'm okay with it. I think it's actually a nice closer. And in general, I don't have any issue with the song order on this album. I think most albums we listen to has a decent song order. And if I was judging on song order, this would be great. I mean, it's fine. Every song fits where it should.
I really love this song, and I really love it as a closer. I love things that end when talking about beginnings, and I love that this song is about morning. The beginning of the day. I love that. Although actually the first word is the moon, another alcohol reference. The moon was full of your whiskey sour, but really it's about waking up and facing the rest of your life after things have not gone right. They have not gone right in a relationship. I'm wishing things could be the same when things got broken. You came at the wrong time for me. My moods were always changing. They were blue, then brown, then gray. You see, I don't need anything that way. It's a very sad thing, blue to brown to gray. I mean, gray is sort of a, hopelessness, sort of a dead inside type of thing. So I think I love the juxtaposition of sort of talking about sort of being defeated, but also talking about mourning. It's the sun is rising on another day, and here we go. And I think that sort of as a companion piece to Suppose, which came before it, I think it's just a really, really strong ending to the album. And I like the sections in this song. It's got sort of two verses, then it's got this bridge section with the I'm fighting tooth and nail against each demons in my head, two more verses, and then it's got this sort of ongoing outro. I don't need anything that way with the slide guitar. And I don't normally like fade outs, but it doesn't actually fade out, because then it goes back to just the spare acoustic, or actually I think it's an electric guitar, but it's just a very spare electric guitar. And it ends spare as it began. So I actually think this song is an excellent song and an excellent ender, particularly as a companion with Suppose.
Did I like it or not, guys?
I'm going to say you did.
You did not.
I'm going to say that you did like it, but not your favorite. I think you may be flirting with 80, but we shall see.
Okay. I actually liked this one. So I thought it was more memorable. I thought the vocals sounded really nice. I liked the tempo. I liked that I could hear the lyrics as he was singing them. I liked the bridge. I mean, I'm just saying I like. So
yeah,
it's not great podcasting, but it's sad, and I think, she came to rescue him is how I read it, and like things still ended badly, and now he's like reminiscing on that. And yeah, I don't know the full takeaway of the song, but it's just a sad, and it's kind of a sad way to end it. But I was happy to end it on this one because I liked it. So it was, a good way to go out. I think it's just my personal taste, honestly, and I don't know why it's more memorable to me than the other ones, but this was a good ending to an okay album. That's all I have to say.
Yep. All right. Ratings, Doug.
77.
80 for me.
98.
Wow. And it's an 80 for me.
Okay. So
double ding.
We have we've gone all through it. We've done the track by track. So it's time for us to talk about our favorites and our least favorites. Dylan, we'll start with you.
I mean, I love the whole album. It's very hard for me to say. I think the weakest, I don't like the Chris songs as much as the Bill songs. So the weakest to me is My Responsibility, followed by Late at Night. I just like Bill better. And of my personal favorites, it's probably Treehouse, Latest Monkey, Torch Singer, Suppose, Anything That Way.
Okay. Amy?
Okay. So for me, I liked Late at Night and Anything That Way. And then I had a lot that were 65. So those were my worst. I won't name them all.
All right. I think my favorite, just looking at the math, is Latest Monkey, and then I think I'd put I'm Allowed very close. Those are the two that I was like the most excited to listen to every time. And the least favorite was probably Would Not Be Denied. I had it a 60. I think that was my lowest score. So yeah, Kyle.
Okay. Yeah, so this song had 3 songs in the 80s and above for me, so that's always nice to get that in there. The top 2 for me, Treehouse was my favorite, I'm Allowed my second, and then I'm with you, Dylan. My least favorite song was My Responsibility.
Okay, so with that, it's time to kind of give our final closing thoughts. Amy, why don't you go first? Closing thoughts on Big Red Letter Day.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely feels like a 90s, you know, I don't feel like I can't even speak anymore, you guys. To me, it feels like just a time capsule of the 90s. Like, I don't feel like this is an album you would hear now or at any other time period. And unfortunately, it was just a taste thing. It just didn't hit for whatever reason. But thank you for bringing it to us again, or bringing it to me again to explore one more time.
Yeah, this is a period in like a genre of music, like basically, flannel, that I grew up with. And like, even though this particular album, like, didn't like, pop for me as like one of my favorite things, like, if you were trying to like go, I don't know, let's see if Doug will like this. Overall, like, I would say, like, just because this particular album didn't go, like, the batting average is going to be high. Like, the amount of stuff that I like that is in the neighborhood of this is like generally up there. And so I'm glad I got to hear this and like fill in a gap. And like, again, the songs that I liked on here, like, I'm more than happy to come back to. So this was really interesting. Like, it's one of the fun things about this is, sometimes we'll pick things that, everybody has heard of and like knows really, really well. We've done Revolver, right? We did Bad by Michael Jackson. Like, sometimes we'll do these very big popular albums. Sometimes we'll do ones that are like, oh, everyone's heard of this, but only one of us actually really knows it. And then there's things like this where it's like, oh boy, I'm going in blind, basically, but for the one song from My So-Called Life. And so like, that's one of the things I love most about doing this is like getting to explore something new sometimes. So, I think if you're a fan of this era of music, you should at least check this out at least once, and hopefully you have a more Dylan experience than an Amy experience.
Yeah, the whole exploring something new. It's just, I just realized more and more over the past year how much I appreciate it, because I don't know that I would ever come across this. That aside, I didn't love it, but it's still cool to experience it. So while I don't think that this stands the test of time or will, I think that it's pretty good work. I think it's a good representation of this time in rock. And overall, I mean, it's clean, good 90s, a little boring, but it's solid. There's nothing wrong with this. I think that the album sounded really good in the headphones, and I'm going to remember that. I mean, a lot of things do that came out after the 70s or 80s. It just sounds good. This is no exception. And the one thing that I got to point out is that it did grow on me. There's some albums that we've done, I can't think of them right now, where they just never hit the spot. I try to listen to 10, 15, 20 times, and I did with this one, and it took a bit to get there, but it happened. I got into it a little bit. Don't think I'll come back to a lot of these songs, but there's a few on here that I'll remember. So yeah, pretty cool.
Well, thank you for giving it a shot. I think, I would want to end by just talking about the context that I remember them from when I was listening to them in the 90s. They were also, they were considered more alternative than I think some of the bands that have been named as comparisons. Like, they were famous on the No Alternative compilation. If anyone remembers that, it was like an age relief thing. But the other bands on there, who was on No Alternative? It was like what is it? Matthew Sweet, Smashing Pumpkins, Pavement. Actually, Goo Goo Dolls were on there. covering a Rolling Stones song. So there we go. Uncle Tupelo, The Breeders, Sonic Youth, and then that compilation famously had a Nirvana song on it that was otherwise unreleased. That's called Verse Chorus Verse. That's a big favorite of their fans. The other Buffalo Tom claim to fame is that they're Jon Stewart's favorite band, and so they were actually the last guest on the Jon Stewart show. He insisted, when this is pre-Daily Show, that his final show have them as a musical guest. Anyway, and so I really group them with just like other 90s alternative bands. They're more, folky than some of the others, but I also think of them as being like descendants of Dinosaur Jr. because Jay Mascis was their original sort of benefactor. Group them with, like I said, the Lemonheads and some of these other 90s Boston bands. They're still around today if you want to see them live. They're very stripped down and raw live. I mean, there's, like I said, there's like this folky element to them, but live it's like Bill's playing like an SG through a Marshall, and that's his sound. It's I love them and love this album, and I also recommend the one before it, which is called Let Me Come Over. That's sort of usually their consensus best album, as well as the one after, which is called Sleepy Eyed. So,
all right. So
but those aren't the only great ones, but those are considered the big three.
Okay, that means it is time for our final aggregate scores. So we're going to average everything together and come up with the final score for the album. So Amy, you're up first. What is your total aggregate score for Big Red Letter Day?
70.9.
Okay, mine is 77.09.
All right. And interesting. Doug, I am also a 77.09.
Wow.
Ding, ding, ding.
That's insane. All right, and
odd.
Dylan, what is your combined average for the album?
It's 90.27.
All right, 90.27. So before we give the final, which I do have here, I'm going to look at other podcasts that we've done with other guests, guys. So we did, with Sophie, we did American Egypt by Mike Viola. That was an 84.25. Then we got Rick. We did Goths. That was way down at a 74.38. Then we went to Rich. We did some Ozzy Osbourne Osmosis, and we were back up to 80.63. And Big Red Letter Day Buffalo Tom, it's a little bit under Osmosis, ends up being a 78.84, kind of around the mid zone of all of our podcasts, right around an 80.
All right. Well, that means it's time for kind of the part that I'm always the most pins and needles for, which is the next album. So Kyle, the conch is yours. What album are we doing next time?
Yeah, so it's tough because there's so many choices out there, guys. This time I wanted to pick a decade that I had not hit yet. We've already hit the 60s. We'd already hit the 80s. We've done the 90s a lot. So it's going to be 50s, 70s, or sometime in this century, which I'm going to pass on this time. So we are actually going to go to the 70s. So coincidentally, like Aerosmith, this band that we just did was from Boston. But we're not going to do Aerosmith. We're going to do Boston, the band Boston. And we're going to do their self-titled debut album from 1976.
Hell yeah.
Doug, I know you're going to know at least 3 songs. Amy, you will know at least 3 songs on this only 8-song album. So this is going to be a lot of fun, guys.
That's awesome. This is a true classic rock classic. The cover art alone for this album is awesome. If their closest cousin would be something like maybe like Journey, kind of a similar thing. They're a little more synthy, but like the voice, like the voice on More Than a Feeling. I don't know how a human being can make that sound with their throat. It's unbelievable. So I'm very excited to go back to this one. There's some great tracks on this one. This is a real classic you picked. So awesome. Okay. So there's your homework. It is Boston by Boston. And so it's time for just little plugs and admin stuff. Dylan, you're up first. If people want to find you, your things, what are those things and where do they find them?
Well, speaking of music, I am part of a team that is making a movie about a fictional British glam rocker named Roger Wodehouse. He has got a movie called Roger Woodhouse's Andro Gymnasium. If David Bowie hosted Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, that would be what this is. If you would like to invest in our movie, which means you are contributing to the initial funds, but you also make money when the movie makes money, you can go to wefunder.com/Roger Wodehouse, ROGERWODEHOUSE. We've got over $160,000 in investment, and we would like more so that we can make a really cool movie. So there's that. Or if you would like music for your upcoming event in California, you can go to themoonunits.com and hire many of the same people who are in Roger Wodehouse's band to play more corporate music.
Awesome. Amy, if they want to find your earrings and other things, where do they go?
You can find me on Instagram, Etsy, TikTok under Momo Bunnies More Co. The thing I will plug right now is that our kids have been busy making bookmarks, and there was some interest in them, so we've been selling them on our Etsy page. So all the earnings there go to my children, and they have done very well, and it's funding their shopping habits. So thank you so much.
There you go. Kyle, if they want to find your music, where do they find it?
Yeah, go buy some bookmarks. Awesome. Find my music everywhere. Spotify, Silver Dork is my band. On Apple Music, we are Kyle and the Silver Dork, but Silver Dork everywhere else. Go check it out.
And as for me, I am the host of two other podcasts. The main one is Nostalgia Marcanum. That is our weekly pop culture retrospective show where a guest comes on bringing something that they are super nostalgic for from 20, 30, 40 years ago. And we talk about why that thing is still just burrowed into their hearts to this day. The other show I work on is called Still Muppeting. I do that with my friend Josh Coble from the Still Loading podcast, and each month we cover a different Jim Henson thing. Just go to patreon.com/stillloadingpod to listen to that. This is coming out in July, I think, which would make the subject Fraggle Rock. That is the thing we're talking about this month. So go check that out. If you want to get in touch with us, our social media portals are in the show notes. That's how you find us. And of course, if you have time and are so inclined, please do drop a review for this podcast and any podcast you listen to. Those reviews do make a big difference in helping the podcast find new audience, as does word of mouth. Tell a friend. Let us know if there's an album you think we should cover, like suggest things. We'd love to hear from you. So that will do it for this episode. We do not have a cute little sign off, but Dylan, thank you so much for coming by. We're so glad we got to spend more time with you as always and delve into music with you. So that's always it's a treat.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Thank you.
I suppose it's late at night, so it would not be denied if it would be my responsibility to go to my treehouse and sleep tonight.
Nicely done.
You're allowed.
Well done.
Can we go somewhere? Sure.
I'd do it if I could. I hope you know I would.
Angela, wait! Don't forget the geometry review.
Forget it. She already did.